Okay, I think I've got everything. Welcome back to Sweetly Savory. This time we're going to be making Honey Sriracha Turkey Meatballs, and I put that with just some regular quinoa and shredded carrots on the side. And this is part of my prepping lunch series. I got kind of into a rut with lunch, had no idea what I wanted, got bored, and just said, you know what? I'm gonna make these again, these turkey meatballs, because I haven't made them in about a year, and they were so good. So let's go ahead and get started. What you're gonna want is a pound of ground turkey. You're gonna want some panko crumbs or any of the breadcrumbs. Could be Italian, could be plain, whatever you've got in your pantry. We need salt and pepper. And green onion. I've got these freeze-dried chive things. They've worked out pretty good. They do the job. And garlic powder. And then for our sauce, you're going to want some sriracha, because they're called sriracha, and some honey, because you're going to want some honey. So we've got sriracha, honey, soy sauce, rice wine vinegar, and sesame seed oil. And I know that these seem like kind of odd ingredients for me to have, but I've kept these on hand. They last a really long time because it's vinegar and oil, essentially. But I use them in some other dishes as well. So if you want to make like lo mein or fried rice at home, or fried cauliflower instead of rice, these are really great things to keep on hand, and that way you don't have to do takeout. You can fake your takeout. And my friend Ginger here for the sauce as well. Ginger is now like my best friend. Thanks so much, Ginger. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll begin with the turkey meatballs. And no real cool equipment for this guy. We're just going to need a bowl with hands to mix, because I prefer to mix everything with my hands. Why dirty something else when I can just wash my hands a lot easier. And you want to start breaking it up. And eggs. So thanks again to Ellie Mae Farms for all my eggs. I can leave another link to their website in the description below. So let's go ahead and measure all of our ingredients together now. Since we're having this recipe, it's going to be 1/2 cup of panko breadcrumbs, or crumbs, they're not bread, it's panko. And salt, it's going to be about 1/4 teaspoon. So I'm just going to do the little thing in my hand. So that's about 1/4 teaspoon. And I'm just going to throw in some pepper. And these freeze-dried chives really help in a pinch. So I did about 1/2 teaspoon of those. And about 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And I think that's it for this first half. I'm going to go ahead and get this mixed together. And like I said, I do quinoa and the shredded carrots that I adore. I do that on the side. And right now I've got my quinoa mixing up, or cooking actually. So it's just that 2-to-1 ratio. And if I make a little bit extra of the quinoa, then that's going to be perfectly fine, because I'm going to be making these meatballs again later in the week. And you want everything mixed together. And since that part's done, I'm going to get my cookie sheet ready. So I'm just going to lay down some foil, and I'm going to grab my cookie scoop, the same one that we use for the chocolate chip cookies. I use this for my meatballs, so that way they're all even. So I'll grab those things, and then we'll be able to stick these in the oven and take a peek at our quinoa, just make sure that it's doing its little quinoa job, and we'll be back in a few minutes. So we've dressed up our pan here with our foil, ready for its big debut with the turkey meatballs. And let's go ahead and check our quinoa. It looks like it's doing its little quinoa job, so. That's coming together real nice. Time to make the meatballs, not cookies this time. But we are going to use the cookie scoop. And the thing that I love about this, or any meatballs, to be quite honest, just go like that and leave them. I used to be super meticulous and make them perfectly round, but as long as they're the same size, that's what really matters. So let's speed things up. So here we are, our meatballs. Now we're just going to toss these into the oven for about 25 minutes. And our quinoa is completely done, so I've turned that off. So we're going to get started on our honey sriracha sauce. Since we have the turkey meatballs that are currently in the oven, we're going to have the sauce as well. So we're going to want 1/8 of a cup of sriracha sauce that I've gotten here. And the honey, we're going to want 3 tablespoons. I'm still going to stick with the same 3 because it'll get spicy in here. So 1, 2, 3. And our soy sauce, we're going to want 3 tablespoons of that. So let's have it to 1.5 tablespoons. 1.5. Our rice wine vinegar, same amount, 1.5. Ginger, this calls for a tablespoon of fresh ginger, but I'm going to use my powdered friend here. So I'm just going to do a few shakes of that. Our garlic powder, it's going to be the same amount. And you're going to want 3/4 of a teaspoon of the powdered ginger, garlic, because you're going to want, the recipe calls for 3 cloves of garlic, and that I would kind of keep the same for myself because we love garlic. Sesame seed oil, this stuff is super potent. Wow. Just that one sniff, I'm like, wow. Calls for 1/2 teaspoon, so you're only going to want 1/4 teaspoon for this. Just a splash. And I had my whisk, and here it is. Give this a stir. So I really smell that sriracha in here, and I can kind of smell the honey that's gonna even keel that spice, and the soy sauce is gonna bring that umami flavor, that nice well-roundedness. All right, so the only thing left to do is wait for those turkey meatballs to be done in the oven, and that should be just enough time for you to like this video down below. Subscribe up here to Sweetly Savory, and stay tuned for the remainder of this video. We'll be back in a bit to put it all together. Our turkey meatballs are ready to come out of the oven. These are our finished product. And we've got our workstation set up here. I think the only thing I'm missing are my tongs. Here we are. Portion these off. And for the number of meatballs that I have, your number might be different. It's gonna be 6 to a container. And these little handy things here, these are perfect for lunch or dinner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why do I feel like I'm short? I am 5'2", but I meant on short on the meatballs. to 6 in a container. So we're just gonna stir up our sauce here that's been chilling out, and just enough to cover your meatballs. And this is also a perfect meal for dinner if you want. But if you prep your dinners too, another fantastic idea. Because this is super healthy, you know exactly what's going into it. It's just stinking delicious. And honestly, this sauce you could use for chicken. If you're gonna make like a stir fry or something, an Asian inspired meal, you could use this sauce too. But I really like it with these meatballs. We're just gonna portion off our quinoa now. Trusty spoon. And I believe I've said in the past that 1/4 of a cup of quinoa is a serving. And you don't have to measure this out and be exact, but at least try to guesstimate what would be a 1/4 cup. And the quinoa that I made today, it's just that 2-to-1 ratio and a bouillon cube, just for the well-rounded flavor of your quinoa. Because quinoa tastes good on its own, but I really like adding that bouillon cube. Something extra to the quinoa. Oh, you don't have to salt and pepper it later. It's already got all the seasoning in there. And our carrots. Time for our carrots. My second best friend in the kitchen. Now it looks kind of odd just putting carrots with this instead of a salad. I think of it this way. If you're gonna get hot wings at a restaurant, they sometimes put carrot sticks or celery sticks with them. That's how I look at it. As though these are like chicken wings, kind of, if you will. And you're just putting carrots on the side of it. But instead of an appetizer at a restaurant, it's a lunch that you made. And there we have it. Our Honey Sriracha Turkey Meatballs with quinoa and shredded carrots. So I really hope you liked this video. You want to try out this recipe, part of my prepping lunch series, which you can watch the rest of the videos over here. And I hope that you subscribe to Sweetly Savory. You can do that right there. And make sure to that bell for notifications so that you're alerted when new delicious stuff comes out. And we will see you again next time.